Normally when we think of how New Zealand attack, we think of moments of brilliance, length of the pitch breaks, incredible individual skill, moments of brilliance that come out of absolutely nowhere, and that every single player on the pitch has the ability to do all of it. But now in 2021, when both New Zealand and Australia are rebuilding post-World Cup, 2 new coaches instead, this is how New Zealand decided to attack during the Bledisoe series of 2021, games 1 and 2. Whenever we consider how New Zealand make the way up the pitch, we normally think of winning penalties or breaking from their own 22. But here we can see 2 kicks from Aaron Smith, where they try and land the ball close to the touchline with a good chase. And instantly, as soon as the ball carrier is taken down, we have the defenders from New Zealand in over the ball, and try and hold solid and win a penalty or just steal the ball that way. And it helps when Australia don't really catch the ball. As for New Zealand's backline play, they'd often try and hold the inside defence and then exploit the gap between the outer defenders and the inner defenders. So here it's the loop and the inside pass to Severis, and he could have potentially been in for a try there if it weren't for the cover of Michael Hooper. Now here in the second clip, you can just see they use the blocking forwards to really hold as wide as the defenders really are here. Then it's that loop of Havili that fixes the outside defender, but again it's the back work of Michael Hooper that really stops that attack going any further. And then we'll see something that New Zealand did frequently, and that's a pick and go from the base off very quick ball. So as soon as the ball hits the ground, and before Australia had a chance to put pillars in place, they would attack that space where they were still unorganised. Here you can see the front row have just given Aaron Smith enough space to attack that front of the line out, not correctly marked him, and then as soon as they've realised that, that's been the call and they've taken that advantage. And again you see that pick and go straight from the ruck while it's still fast moving. Unfortunately this time it's dropped. New Zealand also attack incredibly intelligently off the shoulder. You see, everyone is always in a position to catch the ball, and then as soon as they realise they're not going to, they'll attack the ruck. There's no attackers ever overrunning the ball, and it's from that off the shoulder. As soon as you get a defender coming in from any sort of angle, that creates a small gap, and you've just got to pick the right side then to offload the ball, and there will always be someone there. And in this instance, Adi Surveyor holds Colabetti quite nicely, makes him turn his back on Will Jordan, and just gives him the extra time to run into that space. From a rushed Bledisoe kick, Moan can take the ball here and quite easily bypass the Australian defence, because Bledisoe is only kicking to his back line and there's no forwards to fill in any gaps there, so it's quite spread out. And then here we can really see the lines taken by the support runners here. They're always in a position to take the ball on a really close to the attacking shoulder, and then if that doesn't happen, then an immediate position to clean out from their ruck. There you can just see Papali'i's line, a very exaggerated L shape. It's clearly something the All Blacks have seen, that attacking teams will get penalised for coming in at the side. So they are very fixated on not doing that. And then after the pick and go, you can just see the speed at which Surveyor's second pick comes off the first ruck. He's essentially the second man there, picks and go, and it's before Fainga has a chance to reset. And of course it's somewhat easier to score tries when the opposition starts throwing you the ball as well. Across the 2 games, New Zealand ran in 3 interception tries. 1 in the first test here by Richie Mo'unga, 2 in the second, the first by Iwane here, and the second was run in by Severis. The first 2 both thrown by Bledisoe, who's still only young, and you think maybe he's a bit anxious to throw the ball, doesn't particularly want to carry it, and is just following set moves. The second one thrown by Tamua there, and it's a bit of a panic pat at the ball, from the Australian receiving, and that just allows Heavy Reese then to take the ball quite simply. Now this try scored by Cody Taylor. As soon as the All Blacks set this marker here in the middle of the pitch, a lot of the defence work hard to go around the far side, and then it's this hard aggressive overs line that Cody Taylor runs. It fits well to get past the Australian defence because they're not coming up with a lot of speed, and this immediately has them running towards a touchline. As soon as you do that, you're guaranteed to get past the gain line. Throughout this move from the line out, the All Blacks here, this is an organised play. From that offload, they weren't expecting that offload, it wasn't part of the designed call, but they reset themselves very well. They do that quick pick and go, it steals an extra couple of metres, and then they'll rework themselves through the forwards while things get organised. See now, just off a few carries, they've already managed to get an extra 20 metres in total. And that is partially down to a lack of aggression in the Australian defence, but it's the constant work rate from the All Blacks. And here it looks like they're just going to attack the line, but it's the speed at which the backs recognise the space, and it's that aggressive overs line that Damien McKenzie utilises this time, just to beat the upcoming Australian defence. New Zealand is obviously well renowned for their ability to play heads-up rugby, and here they're going through their motions. They have set plays, they know what they'll do, they'll come back and forth and try and tire the Australian defence out, but as soon as someone lunges in like that, they create that little bit of space, and that's all it needs for Aaron Smith to create two separate 2-on-1s. He dummies his way past McDermott and then puts Cody Taylor in for the try, whose support line and reaction speed beats the Australians all the way. It wasn't very often that the Australians actually helped themselves at all. But here, tapping a penalty on their own 10-metre line just seemed a bit bizarre, especially when trying to catch out a New Zealand backline that hadn't set particularly deep. And then as soon as you spill the ball after doing that, you've got to question that decision making. And then it's a very quick backline move called, especially when you consider this is turnover ball and they've set themselves up in very good attacking positions. And of course they're then attacking the Australian front row who are out in the wide channels, who didn't manage to drift across that defence at all, and it's simple for them to get on the outside then, and then there's incredible speed from Bodie Retallick and his support line to make it there for the try. And of course when it comes to New Zealanders attacking, it always helps to be a New Zealander because you've been blessed by the rugby gods and somehow see things that no one else can see or think even possible. In this case, this is all set up by Richie Mo'unga here, where somehow he manages to find a gap. I'm not quite sure how, by going around Harry Wilson, who's not exactly slow by any means. And then it's a pin-perfect pass from Damien McKenzie, if that isn't deemed to have been forward. And from there, it's all the way back across the other side of the pitch, which shows that the support play from New Zealand is literally all the way across the pitch. Everyone is coming up together. Even if the break is on the left-hand side, everybody on the right-hand side is coming up as well. And yeah, that one's forward. Now, when Will Jordan picks this up, this might have been deemed as not great play because he hasn't scored himself. He was tempted to kick it at one point, but he does drift. He manages to not run very far in quite a long time, which in this case just opens up the space and allows the support play to get there. And of course, if you are a New Zealander, you can just do special things like Damien McKenzie knocking over a 59-metre penalty as if it's nothing. I think it's something to do with the mullet. I think it's magic. And a bit of a praise. So New Zealand attack quite heavily around the ruck, and immediately off the ball carrier's shoulder. This just gives them this tight, free-flowing game, and it just forces then any defence to budge inwards and form tight. And as we know, New Zealand are very capable of moving out wide very quickly. And then that variation in the game just means that you never know which one they're going to do. And that just has everyone in all sorts of trouble, and you have different defenders doing different things, and New Zealand will go different ways at any one time. And they can just utilise the space and play heads-up rugby to beat you whichever way they feel like doing that particular day.